find yourself getting passed by multiple cars, as I mentioned earlier on. So Nuhoff in a very precarious situation, but he often finds himself in these places. He doesn't qualify as well as he races.
Up front, they are getting with Lee Aberdeen and Luca Varani, not very far apart at all here. But I just want to see how Alistair Haig deals with Marcello Kessler coming around the old hairpin.
I would say it's not the best decision they've ever made, just not having done that under the safety car, really.
Yeah, they're taking their pit stop strategies from Ferrari lately or something. What's going on?
In turn one, just too much gas on them, too much feet on the loud pedal, and unfortunately he's dropped him all the way down the order. But Philip Hammer is out in front by an 8.91 seconds. Dan Michael is a wall there, sir. And definitely doesn't want to be hitting that earlier on as well.
Difficult, the understeer is in the dirty air through that final corner because it's such a long corner and you get dragged off into the grass very easily. He'll have the slipstream down towards the chicane. Peterson was briefly alongside, but that slipstream has saved him and kept him in third.
Yeah, Varani now lost a little bit of time to Aberdeen, about half a second. Peterson is Pike's pushed Morton forward up ahead. He's got out of line. Is now Pike going to have a go at Werrell? Don't push him off. He's in the championship fight. Jack Werrell chasing down Carl Jacklin. Further down, Rob Williams and Chris Barnes.
Sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's come back into play. Exactly. Miller's still such up. He's left on second and change. All of a sudden Miller's back in play.
Moving on to the back end of Phil Jocelyn. So there's been a lot of movers and shakers in this first 2 laps here for race.
Absolutely serious racing league. Everybody's allowed to have fun. Yeah, it's all about the entertainment. So I hope everybody is enjoying themselves out there in the chat. We know that Ron is been enjoying himself watching. The Burger King machines off into the grass a little bit there as they're really bunching up now.
going down.
Does he have it?
Medeiros is going to get it.
Oh, they're going to toss it. They haven't got it.
He's on the outside line though, going into the fastest corner on the circuit. Surely this can't work.
Dominic Ligner has got a sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's caught back into play. Exactly. Miller's still such chopper. He's not on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Can Barry do it? Big Barry's going to do it. Big Barry. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome along to the Sunday iFormula League Season 6 F3 Series Round 11 from Road America. It was myself, James Parfitt, and Kelsey Gill on the mics for you here. 6.41 kilometres in length and some epic corners that we know and love. These F3s are going to roar around here. Current pace on the board is a 156.18 from Alex Johnson here. So let's see what happens at this absolute incredible circuit. Schedule itself, as you can see, we've only got one more race to go on November the 5th, which will be the finale at Interlagos for the final round, and there we will wrap up the champion of this one. But let's have a look at the scores on the doors as we are at the moment. Here's Alex Johnson out in front by 372 points. Lee Aberdeen in second on 338. Kevin Zwemstra in third, and Andre Zalander in fourth, and all Alcantech top four. Rachel Jimenez in fifth. Jake Potts in sixth. Kevin Vermont in seventh. Mackenzie Room in eighth. Frederick Højgaard Larsen ninth. Darius Kauskas in 10th, Roman Ratu in 11th, and Thomas Siros in 12th. Vacaris Villiers in 13th, with Alexander Rivera in 14th, and then Victor Solano rounds out the top 15. So there you go. You've listened to me ramble on. Let's bring in one Mr. Kelsey Gill into the bell. Good afternoon, Kelsey. How are you?
Not too bad, James. Yeah, it's good to be back once again. Hello, everybody in the live chat as well. Lovely to be back. Yeah, Road America, what a circuit we've got. These nimble F3 cars going to be wrangling their way around this amazing technical track, and there's a lot of undulation around this circuit as well. A few tricky corners, lots of opportunities for overtaking as well. And not only that, there's opportunities to overtake and fight for that position as well, because you know, you get overtaken in 1, you get a chance once again into 5, and then another chance perhaps into 8, and then down through the kink and toward Canada corner perhaps as well. So many places to go overtaking, and it wasn't long ago, only a couple Sundays ago in fact, that we had one of the best races I've commentated around here with the SR10s.
Absolutely. The Radical SR10s are amazing race cars. They really are, but hopefully these guys will put on a bit of a show. We are a bit light on the ground, on the field, but let's bring you up the grid here for race 1. 20 laps of race 1. We've got Alex Johnson in pole position with Mackenzie Roon in second. Kevin Webster third. Lee Aberdeen fourth. Jake Potts in fifth. Andre Zalander sixth. Eric Leroy seventh. Andy Miller eighth. Rachel Jimenez ninth. And Silas Craig Wojciech in 10th with Arturo Mayorga in 11th. Bit of a low, I think. We're a bit light here, Kelsey. I think getting towards the end of the season, you start sort of seeing that drop off. So, you know, hopefully at Interlagos we should get sort of a good turnout and get everybody back up and racing here as well to give us a good send-off for season 6.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, if Interlagos doesn't bring out the drivers, then I don't know what will. I mean, what a circuit that is, especially for a finale as well. I mean, it's such a great venue, but we've got to deal with this circuit first, and we've got some great racing lined up. I think Mackenzie Roon's got a bit of a chip on his shoulder, perhaps after last week. He had an awful weekend in the car, and so he'll have to try and go out again and see if he can get some redemption out there on the circuit as well. And I think as long as Johnson doesn't do anything wrong here, it's his championship. He'll be finished for him, I think. That's been the story all through the season. We're about halfway through, I think.
Yeah, he's been taking a dominant lead, to be fair, and I don't think that I don't even think I'll have to do some quick maths, but I don't think it's mathematically possible that they can catch him, to be honest. So we'll keep an eye on the scores on the doors going into Interlagos next week. Well, November 5th, so yeah, next week, to see how it all pans out. But to be honest, I think he has pretty much wrapped this one up. The lights are going to be coming on here, guys, as well for this 20-lap feature race. The 5 lights are out and we are green. We are racing here at Road America, and it is Alex Johnson out in front at the moment, who's taken that lead place. Mackenzie Roon in second still, with Kevin Swemstra in third. Looking down into turn 1, there's a big movement at the back there as well. I think that was Rachel Jimenez who ended up on the grass round turn 1. But at the moment here though, Kelsey, everybody through cleanly. Swemstra and Aberdeen are both, Mackenzie Roon there in the gravel. Not an ideal start from them guys.
I don't think he's too happy about that either. Into the gravel trap, and I think he went straight to the pit lane. I think that might be Mackenzie's race over already.
Yeah, I think so as well. Seems the slight bit of contact there, and unfortunately Mackenzie Roon is out with now down to minimal drivers. There's also somebody else off the side of the circuit as well. I think that's Lee Aberdeen in the wall with Andy Miller, as you can see there. And unfortunately it's all getting a little bit scrappy here early on, Kelsey, as well. And at the moment Alex Johnson's away and out and flying.
Going for risky moves, perhaps. It's easily done around this circuit. You can just so easily outbrake yourself into a lot of those heavy braking zones. You got 5 and 6 where the braking zone is so heavy, and I think that's what we saw that incident in particular between Lee Aberdeen and Miller as well. And well, if Johnson wasn't far ahead enough already, he's going to be even further ahead now with Lee Aberdeen way down in 10th.
Yeah, Aberdeen is definitely going to have a bit of a mission here, I'm not going to lie. So, unfortunately for him, it's going to be, well, I think, to be honest, this is probably, big off track for Eric Leroy there as well. He needs to be a little bit careful. I do want to have a look and see what happened to Andy Miller and Lee Aberdeen. And it is coming, that's a little bit tough one to be looking at there. That's on the run into 6, I believe, and they ended up just kind of hooked together. And Andy Miller and Lee Aberdeen both ended up off the side of the circuit there as well. So tough opening for some here, Kelsey, as we're on lap 2 of 20.
Yeah, thank God these are virtual cars, because that looked like it would have been a bit of a nasty one. You saw the green car of Andy Miller just on the top of Lee Aberdeen's car there as well. That wouldn't have been one to look at. If in real life they'd have cut away from that one quite quickly, I think. But no harm done, at least as far as anybody's physical health is concerned. But there's a little bit of a fight here going on. This is Eric Leroy getting overtaken, perhaps. It is 2 cars going side by side now. Is that
it's Arturo Mayorga and Jimenez, yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, Mayorga and Leroy, with Mayorga in front. Leroy in 7th at the moment. There's battles with Zalander and Kevin. This is Zalander of Wojciech here as well. So Vrolik having a good old go over Zalander. Again, the Alcantic team, you know, it's a tough one, because obviously they're kind of dominating this series at the moment, you know, with Johnson's out in front in the singles, and that's the thing, you're not going to catch him at the moment. This is the tough thing, and he's flying currently. He's got an 8th, 10th gap. Kevin Swemstra's trying to keep him honest, but it's been a tough season for everybody. And the thing is, Johnson's just come out smelling the roses, because he's just been there every time. He's had a couple of sprint races that haven't got his way, shall we say, but he's gone on the board and done the job, isn't it? And I think anybody, you really can't take away from Alex Johnson winning this championship, because it's well deserved.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, you know, discounting the sprint races where he seemed to be a bit of an incident magnet and would just get pulled into incidents through not much fault of his own, in all honesty. He's just been there to collect, hasn't he? He's been on pole, or he's been, you know, in the front 2 rows of the grid, and then when he's had the opportunity to make those moves in vital times, he's done so, got himself to the head, and he's been winning races. And that's what it takes, really. If you're as consistent, you show up, you win races, you can win a championship. That's that's as much as it needs to be said about it, in all honesty. And look how far ahead he is. I think it's like, what, 50 points or so he's ahead of Aberdeen. It's an insane gap.
Yeah, absolutely is as well, and that's the thing. He's so far ahead at the moment. You know, it's 338 to 372. The chances of Aberdeen catching him now being that far down are very, very, very slim, if non-existent. I think. I don't even think there's enough points on the board to have for him to be able to catch him. I think that's the thing. I think it's wrapped up already as well, and it's a tough one for all of these guys to come out. How, you know, from a driver's point of view, how would you keep yourself motivated when you kind of got this thing now that it's over? The season is done. It's kind of dusted for a lot of people. So how would you keep yourself motivated to keep turning up?
Well, I mean, we can look at it in one way, I suppose. I mean, a lot of the people who do this are doing it for fun. Okay, and that's the part that sort of draws people in, especially the drivers, for like. And yeah, they might not be fighting for a championship perhaps anymore. It might be a bit too far out of their hands and stuff like that. But you know, you look at a real race car driver or Formula One driver or whatever series it is you're getting your teeth stuck into. You know, they don't really have a choice. It's their job. They have to go get in the car and do something. But I think, you know, despite the points deficits, despite, you know, let's say Formula One, Max Verstappen's won the championship, or here, Johnson, he's got a firm hold on that championship. I don't think I can see anything happening unless he crashes in the next 4 races and then Lee Aberdeen wins every race, for example. But I think it's the element of fun that I think keeps bringing drivers back. And you've got, you know, some familiar faces. You know, I've seen Rachel Jimenez every time. Solander's been here most of the time. Well, all of the time I've been here, at least, actually, as well as Wemstra, Aberdeen. You know, there's always that bit of fun, always that little bit to draw you back in, because it's not all about where you finish in the points. It's nice to finish toward the top, or, you know, be P1 or wherever you want to be, but it's, you know, this is a hobby for most people, and that's where it comes from. That's where the fun is. There's always a lot of fun being in the fights, whether it's for first, whether it's for last. You know, I think that's the thing that sort of drives you forward, and that's what you've got to keep your mindset at as well, because if it starts becoming not fun, then it starts to become something that you don't enjoy, and then it becomes a little bit unhealthy perhaps, because you know, you start losing what you sort of got into the hobby for first. What you got into the hobby for the first place.
I think that's the thing, isn't it? Now, doing the quick maths at the moment, Alex Johnson is 34 points ahead. We have 52 points up for grabs at each race. Now, that is in conjunction with the fact that they've got to get 2 fastest laps, and they've got to get, obviously, a 0x race to score an extra point, right? So we'll take it as 50, round it out to 50. So there's 100 points still up for grabs. But Aberdeen needs to have won both races, because this is the main one, the 30-pointer here at the beginning. And Aberdeen is down in 10th, a long way back currently at the moment. You can see on the track map there as well, the leaders are coming down in Marine Sweep. Lee Aberdeen is coming down into Canada Corner. So I don't think if you're going to take the 30 out, that would leave 70, but Aberdeen has got to go out and win the next sprint race. I think it's a big ask. It is a big ask. It's still a tall order, and that is obviously, of course, with Alex Johnson scoring 0 points. So yeah, that's going to be a big ask, I think, for Aberdeen, and Johnson scoring 0 is not really going to happen here today.
Yeah, I think, like I said toward the beginning, I think this race will be what decides it all. I think, even if Johnson doesn't score in Brazil, for example, I think he still wins the championship. He might not even, he doesn't have to show up, and he'll still probably win, just because of that deficit. And Lee Aberdeen being in P10 is not going to help this at all. He needed to be P2, fighting Johnson as hard as he could, but Johnson has been fast all season long, and you know, he's had the likes of Aberdeen's Wemstra and the light and Rune all nipping at his heels, but he's always come out on top for the most part, except on the odd occasions where perhaps he was taken out in a race or had an incident on lap 1 perhaps. So on those outlying moments,
That's yeah, I think it is over. I've got a funny feeling, but I'm just trying to see here as well. You know, it's kind of Mackenzie Rune's point of view. He's obviously squeezed on the outside there. Then there's a big late dive from one of the Alcantech boys who completely misses the apex here as well. That's the 122. That is Aberdeen, who completely missed the apex and unfortunately put Rune where he is. So, yeah, Mackenzie Rune's out and he's not happy about it. Can you see his point as to why he's not happy about it, though? Because did he get run up? Was there a position to have? I think there was. Was there space? I believe there was. But at the same time, Aberdeen didn't hit the apex. And that's the thing. The car drifted wide and Mackenzie Rune went off the side of the circuit. So, does Rune have a case there, Kelsey, I think?
I think it's a bit sloppy from Aberdeen, personally. He's broke late. He's risked it, missed the apex, and that's on him. Where the car goes at that point is beyond his control, so you can make that argument there. But you know, Rune's on the outside. He's given as much space as he possibly can while trying to take the corner and fight for the position as well, which he's entitled to do. So I think, yeah, Aberdeen's got to hold his hands up there and say, yeah, that was on me. And he'll have to accept whatever the stewards deem, if that is in fact something that the stewards are going to have a look at after the session.
Well, let's see here as well as we're looking at Jake Potts and Ayotora Mayorga, the closest battles on the track. You can see the gaps opening up there as well. So we've got 14 laps remaining of this feature race as these guys are still battling it out side by side there as well. I think Potts is almost going to make it through. He's not. He is. There you go. He did get through over Mayorga. Now, what's Mayorga going to be able to do coming up the straight here? Can he make this move? Can he catch up with him? The draft is strong, but is it 6/10 strong, Kelsey? That's the problem.
I mean, the draft is very, very strong around this track, but I don't think the straight's quite long enough to be able to gain that 6/10 back. But he's just going to have to be patient. There's so many opportunities for moves around this circuit with all of the corners and their natures as well. So yeah, it's just sticking with the driver ahead, being patient and trying to just stay consistent and use those opportunities when they present themselves. That's how you're going to make up places, and that's how you're going to succeed around this Road America track. Yeah,
they definitely will. I think that's the thing. They're going to they can survive now, really, when everybody's kind of spread out as they are. You know, they've got space, they've got just to be able to basically go and take their race for the next 13 laps. You know, Potts is slowly bringing in Eric Leroy, not by much, mind you, bit by bit by bit by bit, but every little bit helps. You know, as Tesco said, there are other supermarkets available, of course. You know, but it's still going to be tough for these people because obviously at the beginning there was that incident at the beginning. You know, we've lost Mackenzie Rune already, and then Andy Miller and Lee Aberdeen having it coming together. They're still running further back. Kevin Swenstra's trying to chase down Johnson for the lead here as well. He's a second back currently at the moment. So in hindsight now, though, these guys have just got to be able to basically click off the laps, right? Click off the laps and come away with the points.
Bring it home. 3 words that every racing driver must adhere by if they're going to have any chance to be in a championship. And, you know, you've got to be in it to win it, haven't you? So you've got to finish no matter where it is. So, you know, as frustrated as perhaps Mackenzie Rune was in the cockpit after that incident at turn 1, you know, just giving up isn't going to get you points. You've got to just keep fighting on, even if you are far back. I mean, look at Lee Aberdeen. He's lamenting down in P10, so far off the back. Well, and what is the gap? It's
what from the leader?
No, 14 from these closest car with him, I think. Well, and then you've got Andy Miller, who's 31 from the pack. So, you know, it's even further from where he should be. but he's still going, isn't he? Because there's going to be some points on offer, perhaps, even if it is a small helping of points, or smaller helping of points than he would have liked. But I was actually looking at the standings, James, and I was looking at the fight for best of the rest, which is currently, as far as I'm concerned, you've got the Alcantech who are leading the way, but you've got Rachel Jimenez, who is sat on 205 points for the Lumos eMotorsports team, and then you've got Jake Potts, who's on 192 points for the Nox eMotorsport team. That's where your fight is, or at least the closest fight I could see on the standings there for the best of the rest between Jimenez and Potts.
Well, keep an eye on this one at the moment. Jimenez is leading this one. She is sitting in 5th with Jake Potts in 7th place. So she will be able to get some of the gain of points there as well. But it's going to be very tough for these guys to try and catch each other up now. I think that opening has kind of left a bit of a sour taste as Eric Leroy takes a big old slide coming round turn 12, round Canada corner there, and gets that car going sideways. Vrolik's trying to close into the back of Zwemstra, but at the moment he's trying to drop Andre Zalander here. Kelsey's Zalander's another one that's been strong all season as well. There's a good amount of strong drivers here, and there has been all the way through. We've had the likes of Jimenez, Potts, Vermont as well, Højgaard Larsen, Rakauskas, Ratau, Thomas Siros. They've all been here, and it's a shame that they're not all here now, because this last run-in could have been absolutely amazing.
Well, I'd argue, actually, out of the 4 Alcantech cars that are currently out on the track, that Solander's probably been the one that's lacked the most, I think. He's had a fair few incidents or mistakes that have cost him positions, and he's been trailing the rest of the Alcantech cars by a lot of times, but he seems to have found some form ever since last week, and he's been up there where he should be, rather than having to fight his way through the midfield. He should be making up that 4th slot for the 2 Alcantech teams, which he's currently doing. So it's a good job, and he may even have a go at Vrolik as well. I don't believe these two are teammates, at least as far as
one's
separate
one's
go.
one's Nyman, one's MW. So Nyman is Vrolik and Zwemstra, and MW is Zalander and Johnson. So, and then we got obviously Aberdeen is in Nyman Racing once more. So, yes, from their point of perspective, they're not, they are teams. I suppose it's like Red Bull and AlphaTauri. They're kind of sister teams here as well, Kelsey, and I think that's the thing. But we'll have to see how they're going to go on, whether or not they're going to battle. Is Potts going to battle Leroy with 10 laps remaining here? Can he take any time out of... Oh, Potts is going to go into the pits. He is the first of the pitters. Don't forget, they will have to pit in this race 1, of course. The sprint, not so much. They've only got 7 laps to do here as well. But for Alex Johnson, though, Kelsey, he's just kind of been on managing the gap to Zwemstra, I think. I don't think at any one point he's kind of looked like he's been under threat, to be honest.
He looks cool and calm out there behind that car, I think. Just sort of the way he's driving. He's not pushing so much. He's not falling back and succeeding to any sorts of pressure. He knows what position he's sat in. He knows he doesn't have to do too much to win. All he's got to do is just drive around. This is basically a practice session for him, to be as blunt as possible. Because we've said it time and time again already. It's he's checked out. He's over for it as far as he's concerned. All he's got to do is bring it home.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the thing. He's just got to keep the gap there as well. Aberdeen's just set the fastest lap of the race, so that was a 1:56.93 for Aberdeen. There, Aberdeen's he can try and get that extra point, I think, as well. So. I think any points will kind of help him, but it's still not a massive amount here that he will likely to get. He's down in 10th at the moment as well. So for the feature race in 10th place, he's only going to score 9. If he gets the fastest lap, that's going to be 10 at the most. for this first one, and that's going to put him up at 348. Johnson's going to knock out 30. So 348 on Johnson's 372 will be 402. It's not even going to be possible. I think Johnson's going to wrap this one up, to be honest, right now, right here in this first race.
Yeah, he is. There's no way he doesn't, in all honesty. He's in the lead. Well, there's not much more I can say. He's going to score maximum points for this, and he may even do the same in the sprint if he can survive the first couple of laps or so. But that'll be yet to be seen. But yeah, I don't think there's anything that the Aberdeen can really do. He's way too far back unless some miracle happens, some act of God comes in to intervene in this championship. It's all Johnson's.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it definitely is here as well. So don't forget, guys, there's an IGP fun later on coming up as well. So stay tuned for that one. Don't forget, if you want to get yourselves in any of involved in any of the events we've got coming up within JPB, we've got the BDLV as well. Big Dreams, Little Voices, 6 hours of Brands Hatch. There is coming on once more. The children will be joining me in the commentary booth, so you can come in and if you get yourself involved with that one as well. That's on the 26th of November. JPB Discourse link is down in the description below, and I'm sure if you do want to come and get involved and run from TCRs or GT4s in that 6-hour endurance, that will be absolutely amazing. Also, the new Clios and the GT4 leagues have been released as well, so you can jump into the Discord and have a look for the announcements on that one. But let's get back to this one as Kevin Swemstra trying to close the gap down. He's just getting it under a second, and then it goes out and then back in again and then out again here. Kelsey just can't seem to keep within that second mark at the moment.
Masterclass of management, that, isn't it? From Alex Johnson. He's almost toying with him, I suppose. In some sense, he's just saying, "Oh yeah, you can close in, and then I'll go a little bit faster, and I'll open that gap up again, and then you can close back in." And it's a bit of cat and mouse, as you might call it. Rachel Jimenez now in the pits. Andre Solander decided to jump in as well, so they're going in for their stops. Keep an eye. We'll see where Jake Potts emerges when Rachel Jimenez comes out of the pits. But yeah, it's a little game of cat and mouse at the lead of this race at the moment. With let's see, the gap's gone back up to 1.1 now.
It's dropped back above there as well. Zalander will come out in 5th. Mayorga's going to jump him. Jimenez does look like he managed to hold on from Potts. Jimenez is going to be literally just coming out. There is Potts there, but of course Potts has pitted as well. So now it is a straight fight between these two cows. Oh, Jimenez pushing too much too soon. Oh, no, for Rachel Jimenez. Never a good idea on that one. Too much too soon. Kelsey coming out of the pits. And unfortunately, he's now dropped all the way down into 9th place.
Avoid with cold tyres, and the cold tyres are struck back. You never mess with cold tyres, because that's what happens. They spin you out, and then you found yourself down. I mean, the silver lining of that is that Rachel will be on the front row for the sprint if she doesn't manage to recover any positions from this. But yeah, that's unfortunate for Rachel. That's going to mean a few gains for Jake Potts in their fight in the championship. So that's going to make that all the more closer as Alex Johnson, our leader, now into the pit.
Yeah, Johnson's in, Swemstra's in as well, Vrolik's in. I'm expecting Mayorga to go in now. It's going to be where Zolander's going to end up and how close he's going to be. He's on that run through the Kink Canal down into Canada Corner. Is he going to be able to get anywhere near these guys as well? Pit lane time's around about 46 seconds. He's on his way around Canada Corner now. 13A and 13B to go. They've stopped in their boxes, Johnson and Swemstra, and now he is on his way around turn 14. They're on their way out Johnson is out. Zwemstra is out. Rollick still sat there. Mayorga's on his way as well. Zelander's kind of come up the top of the hill there. I don't think there's going to be quite enough room or time. He's going to get Mayorga, but I don't think he's going to get Rollick, and it's still the same top four as it was going in, Kelsey, as it was. Oh, as I said, that Rollick's on the side of the ground, and Zelander didn't quite capitalise on that one either. So, yeah, no changes after the pit stop cycle, to be fair.
Yeah, I think they all sort of responded to one another once Zelander came in, didn't they? So they saw what Zelander was doing and perhaps thought an undercut might be something that they're under threat for, but it didn't really look all too promising. Although I think, if I'm right, Potts managed to jump Leroy through an undercut. So it is possible round here if you manage to do it properly. And Potts has seen himself into P5 because of that. But and he'll be chasing after Mayorga now, I think, if he can. Was it Mayorga he's looking for?
Zelander,
no,
he's trying to get to Zelander, yeah. He's 2 seconds back from Andre Zelander. He's 4 seconds back from Andre Zelander, who is 2 seconds back from Rollick in front. And you see just the back end of Zelander there going under the bridge here. So it's going to be tough now, really. Where is the battle's going to come from as we go into the last 7? Well, I think if it's going to come from anywhere, it might come from Zelander and Frolic, because there's 2 seconds at the front now, and you can see the gaps on the left-hand side there as well. They are all fairly spread out across this circuit, Kelsey. I think for me being in this race, I think I would just be looking at trying to get to the end, knock the laps off, take my points, stick them in my pocket, say thank you very much, see what we could do with the sprint race, because as you say, it's only 7 laps for the next one. So it's very short, sharp, 14 minutes, 15 minutes at the most, but it is always going to be tough. And I think for these guys as well, coming obviously into the field where it is a bit light on numbers at the moment, and, you know, it's going to be tough for them. Aberdeen, to be honest, does he really want to have a go at Mayorga? Well, there's your answer. He's had to go into the pits again after his pit stop the first time. Clearly didn't have enough there to get to the end. Is this going to allow Jimenez to go through, or is this going to be literally a splash and dash from Aberdeen coming into these last 6? I think Jimenez is going to get him there, Kelsey. So it's going to be tough as we're coming into the last 6 now, with obviously these guys fairly spread out across the racetrack.
Yeah, I mean, incidents and pit stops have allowed for it. I mean, look, Zwemstra lost about a second in the pit lane to Johnson. So he's now sat around the 2-second mark between himself, well, for himself and the leader. So there's a lot of time to be lost in that pit lane if you get it wrong, perhaps. But Lee Aberdeen out now once again. So Jimenez promoted into position number 8. So she'll move down from the front row to the second row of the grid for your sprint race. But I don't think there's much left for this race. Just bring it home. Don't make any mistakes. Bring home those points and go for it once again in that sprint.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's it, really. Just kind of bring it in, tick off the laps. It's now just making sure you don't make any silly mistakes, manage the gaps that you've got here as well. For Jimenez, is obviously she was out in front of Potts, made that move in the pit stops, come out, cold tires, spun round, Bosch, gone, unfortunately for Rachel Jimenez. So that's going to put a little bit of a dent in the fight with Jake Potts. They're not too far apart at all, to be fair. It is literally 23 points between the two. And at the moment where Potts is sitting in 5th, he is on for 18. And Jimenez down in 8th is on for 12. So there's 6 points back for Potts already here as going into the sprint race and next week into Lagos.
Yeah, and they wouldn't be too far apart in the sprint race when the grid's all settled. I think Potts will be just behind on the 3rd row of the grid as it stands thus far, because it'll be Miller and Aberdeen on the front. Then you've got Jimenez, Mayorga on row 2. It'll be Leroy, Potts, row 3, Zelander, Vrolik, row 4. So, actually, no, saying that, Maroon, he should be on pole if the rules are to be followed as last time.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be out. Mackenzie Roon.
Oh, maybe not. Yeah, he might have left the session, perhaps.
Yeah, I think he has left the session here as well. So, unfortunately, there we are. We're going to go into the final 5 laps. We've got cars spread out across the circuit at the moment. Here once more. Been a bit of a tough race for some, tough race for others. So there you go. But if you want to get yourselves involved in any of the action that's taking place here on track, please. Links all down in the description below, and of course if you want to get involved in the JPB leagues, they are down in the description below as well. Clio's, GT4s and TCRs, and then the BDLV event coming up on the 26th of November. If you've never seen a Big Dreams Little Voices event, have a look and search it on YouTube. It will come up. I believe it's one of the first ones to come up here as well. You can see what we do at the moment there for the Rainbow Trust. Raised £4,000 over the first 2 races that we've done. And let's see if we can make some indents into that as well over this one. It's going to be very, very exciting. And 6 hours of Brands Hatch is always going to be tough. Don't forget, head over to JPBroadcasting.com. There is all the information there as well. 4 to go here. Kelsey Rollick, he's sitting where he is at the moment. He's in 3rd, up 7 places. Zelander's up 2, Zwemtra's up 1, and the only man here who really hasn't moved, apart from Jake Potts, who's put himself back into 5th place, is Alex Johnson, led from start to finish. No real dramas for this man.
Yeah, and he's taken that fastest lap away from Lee Aberdeen now. It's a 56.671. Who comes closest on their best laps? 56.966 from Kevin Zwemstra. It's the and Lee Aberdeen on a 56.902. So only 3 tenths away are those 2 drivers, but it's still a bit of a gap to find. They've got a bit of time left to find that time though, if they want to try and go for that extra point for the fastest lap of the race. But at the moment, it's firmly within Johnson's hands, who's the fastest man out on track.
Yeah, it is at the moment here, doing an absolute stellar job maintaining that gap. He's opened the gap from when the pit stops was, and is now just running around the race circuit, getting off the laps. He's coming down with 3 to go here as we're going on to lap 17. Sprint race is going to be at the back. I think, to be honest, with the pace that he's got and the fact that it's a long lap here at Road America in these cars, but me personally, I don't think he needs to get himself caught up in any shenanigans at the beginning. Let them go off and literally just use turn 5, that run down from turn 3 to turn 5, down through the Moraine sweep. Just let them crack on with that, you know, and just take them lap by lap. He doesn't have to do anything crazy to take the win in the sprint race, I don't think.
No, not at all. I mean, another racing adage for you is the race isn't won on lap 1. It's run 1 when the final car, the first car crosses the line on the last lap. So, you know, there's no point going for any silly moves or diving and, you know, compromising your own race at the very start. You may as well be patient, take your opportunities when they come, but don't take avoidable risks, let's say. I mean, you've got to take risks in racing to make up places and to be successful. But if you could avoid the ones that are avoidable, then do so, because it's only going to bring you grief at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, isn't it? It's picking your battles, I think the terminology is, isn't it, really? Making sure that you're not doing anything crazy, you're not doing anything that's going to put you in danger with anybody else, you know, and just trying to get to the end. He's clearly got the pace. He's the fastest man on the circuit. He's the fastest man last time out as well. And I think for Johnson, yeah, he's had a bit of a rough time in the sprint races, and I think that's the thing. He has had a bit of a rough time in them. But I think this sprint race can be different. He doesn't have to go out and full ball try and get from last to first, because as I say, I think pretty much the championship's his. It's all in his capable hands at the moment, and with Zwemstra 2.5 seconds, 2.6 seconds back now, and not making inroads and losing time over that last lap. But Alex Johnson, man, just make sure you get round the corners. I think that's it, really, for that one. And it's now just getting to the end of the race, I believe, on this one as well. We're on 18. We've got 19:20 to go here, Kelsey. But Johnson's done what he needed to do.
Yeah, he has, and he's done it masterfully as well. And he's opening up that gap to Zwemstra now. I think Zwemstra's just... I think he's had enough of playing chase and has perhaps dropped back a little bit, or maybe Alex Johnson's had a little bit of revitalisation after the pit stop and has just been able to open it up and is perhaps even trying to go faster than his current best time out on the track. But we've got a few laps left of this race. Still yet to go, so anything could still happen. You never know. Johnson might dip a wheel on the grass and spin it around and then completely drop it, but I don't see that happening unless the old commentator's coincidence wants to get involved. But
Commentator's coincidence.
Yeah,
you've been alongside Zach Sweeney too long there, dear sir.
I have indeed.
Yeah, that's his favourite saying, commentator's coincidence.
Oh dear, but it crops up every now and again, and call it a curse, call it a coincidence. You know, it's end of the day, it's not our fault, is it?
No, there's nothing we can do about it, mate, to be honest with you. I think, but you know, I think it's the moment where people realise they're on camera or whatever the fault is in there, and however it deemed. I don't really know, to be honest with you. I've never fully understand it either. And as you say, I think a lot of the time it's just a coincidence that we're talking and people are spinning off. But it does seem to happen at some very unruly points, though, Kelsey. I'm not going to lie on that one.
I put it down to the racing gods. In all honesty, they like to do things like that. They, you know, you switch your camera to a car and bam, round it goes. It's just the way it is sometimes, I think. Or you could also make an argument that you know, whoever's behind the camera's got some sort of sixth sense and knows exactly what's going to happen before it even happens. So there's that as well. You know, it's just.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't have a sixth sense. There was a race a few weeks back as well. I think it was the TCRs we did on a Friday, and everybody I went off, and I was like, okay, well, we're just gonna not point the camera at anyone at the moment because people were going off all over the place. Unfortunately, it was a bit of a tough race for some of them drivers there as well. So yeah, it's one of them things. I think, as you say, a complete coincidence here as well. Johnson going around the carousel for the penultimate time on lap 19. He's got one more to go, and then he's going to wrap this up, and then we're going to have Andy Miller on pole with Lee Aberdeen on second in that top well, we should have been a top 12 reverse. Unfortunately there we've lost Mackenzie Brune as well. So it's going to be what we've got on the left hand side fighting it out for this. The sprint race is a different kettle of fish. 7 laps, still 15 minutes, give or take, though, which is plenty enough time to move your way from the back to the front for Alex Johnson.
Oh, yeah, certainly. And like we've said, this track offers so many opportunities for overtaking. So Alex Johnson's going to be spoilt for choice, perhaps, when it comes to making his way up through the field. But you never know. Lee Aberdeen, if he can get his way past Andy Miller on the start, he might at least give Alex Johnson a run for his money. He'll have a good shot at a win, but it's how much Johnson can get himself up the grid toward that second race. And with the pace that he's got round here, he's, you know, quite fittingly, well, he's quite decisively, I should say, about 2/10 quicker than everybody else. So it's Alex Johnson. We'll keep it on Alex Johnson as he makes his way. But it would have been nice to have a few more cars on the grid, though, because this sort of circuit really promotes that sort of bigger grid for more racing, I guess.
Lee Aberdeen went off track here. Unfortunately, it looks like we may have lost Lee Aberdeen as well. So, not quite sure, entirely sure what he got himself into, as we'll keep an eye on that one. He's spinning out, coming out. So I'm not entirely sure what Lee Aberdeen did there. Let's try. Wow, that's very bizarre. He didn't really do anything as far as I can see there for Lee Aberdeen. So there you go. Very bizarre moment on the timing screen as Alex Johnson comes around the kink for the final time. Final lap. He's done what he needed to do. He's done his job, Kelsey. He's going to take the victory. Not much more you can say about Alex Johnson, really.
Cut and dry. That's what it is. It's nice, simple. It's the perfect race, if you want to put it that way. No dramas, no crashes, nobody bothering you either. You might as well just take the rest the other 9 cars off the grid and we'll just sit here and watch Alex Johnson go around the track for 20 laps, because that's what it's felt like.
Yeah, I fully agree. I think he's to be fair though, I wouldn't be doing that until you get over the line there, son, because it's a long old start finish straight. So Alex Johnson does come over. He takes that victory. Fair play to him. Kevin Swemsch will wait for everybody else to come over the line. Here comes Vrolik. He is going to be in third. And then we've got Zalander and Jake Potts, which was only 1.7 seconds apart. There is Zalander. There goes Potts. And the last man that will be over the line will be Andy Miller when he comes across, of course. So there we go. We're going to go into the feature or the sprint race, guys, as well. 7 laps now, so stay tuned for that one as we just wait for everybody else. As you can see there in 7th was Arturo Mayorga as well, Kelsey. Tough race for some.
Yeah, tough race, you know, for you got Miller and Aberdeen who came together. Room didn't see it past the first corner, and I don't think he's going to be seeing out the sprint race at all, sadly. And then it was just a lot of chasing, wasn't it? And gap managing and just trying to get anywhere near the car ahead. But I think, you know, there was a few drivers who had just got themselves settled in, were doing well managing gaps. Johnson was doing well managing that gap. Vrolik was managing that gap between himself and Zalander. Although Jake Potts, actually, he was on a little bit of a... Excuse me, he was on a little bit of a upward trajectory, I suppose. He was catching up to the
guys in front with it, yeah. Well, here's the results. Alex Johnson in first, Kevin Swemsch second, Silas Craig Vrolik in third, Andre Zalander fourth, Jake Potts fifth, Eric Leroy sixth, Arturo Mayorga seventh, Rachel Jimenez eighth, Lee Aberdeen down in ninth with Andy Miller in 10th, and Mackenzie Roon there in that one. We are going to be into now a little bit of a warm-up. We've got a 5-minute warm-up here as well. Me and Kelsey are going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back very, very shortly. Okay, guys, we are back as we're coming into the last minute of the warm-up here before we go into this 7-lap sprint race, really. We'll just give you the rundown from the last race. Of course, Alex Johnson was out in front. He took that victory by a nice little 1.9 seconds over Zwemstra. Silas Kragvolik in third. Andre Zalander fourth, with Jake Potts in fifth. Eric Leroy sixth. Arturo Mayorga seventh. Rachel Jimenez eighth. Lee Aberdeen ninth. Andy Miller in 10th. And then Mackenzie Roon, who will not take part in this second one here as well. Johnson's going to be at the back. Aberdeen's going to be at the front. Not as many points on offer here, Kelsey. You know, Aberdeen's got to do everything he can and take that victory if he can.
Yeah, Aberdeen's got to hope, I guess, that somebody takes out Johnson on the lap. We don't like to see it, but that's what it comes down to now. I think if any way that Johnson can't score points is the only way it's going to be any chance of fighting for the lead of the championship for Aberdeen.
I agree. We know Mackenzie Roon's not likely to be taken part here, guys. Andy Miller will be in first place, in conjunction second there on the board. Lee Aberdeen third, Rachel Jimenez fourth, Arturo Mayorga fifth, Eric Leroy sixth, Jake Potts seventh, Andre Zalander eighth, Silas Kragvolik in ninth, Kevin Zwemstra 10th, and Alex Johnson, the last man on the grid. Well, let's see what happens. Can Johnson wrap this up? He's just got to literally keep the car on track. That is all Alex Johnson has got to do. He's literally just got to keep it on track, and he will be this evening's, well, crowned, really, iFormula F3 Season 6 champion. I can't think anybody else that's going to get near him or get... It's not even mathematically possible. He's just got to go out and do what he can do here to get that car home. So let's get this up and running. 7 laps here. Lights are coming on. You can hear the cars hitting the rev limiters, ready to go once more. And we are green, green, green. With Miller out in front, with Aberdeen chasing him down into turn 1. Aberdeen stuck up the inside. There's movements further back from Potts as well. Now Jimenez is getting into the mix, settling in third place. Aberdeen is going to come through and take that lead. What about Alex Johnson here? He's settled in that 8th place towards the back there as well, with the number 1 on his car. He's jumped on Lander and he's jumped Volik. Is he going to jump Eric Leroy? He is already up 4 places here, Kelsey. And, well, to be fair, he's doing what he needs to do on that run down into turn 5.
There he is. There was no silly moves from Johnson there as well. He was just patient as he could be and made his way through. There's Lee Aberdeen fighting with Miller. They clash once again. Miller going to go off at turn 5, only a corner away from where they came together in the last race. That's Aberdeen ahead. Miller off the track and down and towards P10. I won't comment more on that, I think.
Well, taking it 3 wide here, this ain't going to help either. I've got to be under Zalander, Mayorga in the middle there, with Rolik taking it down there as well. I'm not really sure what else we can say, to be honest, here, Kelsey. I'm very surprised that the problem is in a minute, Miller goes and blinks out, then he comes back, turns in. You just can't turn in like that. The guy on the inside, he can't disappear. You know what I mean? He can't Harry Potter his way out. Do you know what I mean? And I think that was the thing. You just can't able to do that. Potts and Aberdeen now going at each other as well. With Zwemstra, Johnson, Jimenez, Kragvolik, Zalander, Mayorga, Leroy. Miller's in the pits. Mackenzie's out already. So we've lost a couple here. But Alex Johnson, well, there's no superlatives. He was up 7 places and we're not even at the end of the first lap yet.
Yeah, how many more could he gain before he crossed the line? Can he get one more? Can he grab Zwemstra's position before the line? I don't think he's going to manage it. There's the line, not quite, but 7 places on lap 1. That's mightily impressive. Jimenez has dropped way down as well. Potts got a great start off the line, it would say, and was right behind Jimenez right from the get-go. And so that fight's going to continue on. I think Potts will be looking to close that gap a little bit more. So that'll be a nice close fight to keep our eyes on when we go to Interlagos next weekend. But it's all fairly clean for the moment with Johnson chasing down Zwemstra.
Yeah, he is here as well. So they've got 3 laps to go. There is Johnson. He's pulled out to the outside of Zwemstra's. That's how you go around that corner 2x2, guys. Andy Miller there as well. Lee Aberdeen in the inside now. They're still running 2x2. There's been Zolander's off in the background. Zalander is off at the side of the circuit in the background here as well. He's made a mistake going down into turn 5. Was it all on his own? That's going to be the question for the 141 of the Alcantech by MW Race Consulting. He's taken a dive in. No, that wasn't on his own. That was with Vrolik there as well. Zalander was very late, though. I'm not going to lie on that one, Kelsey. Zalander was very late.
He was late, but I think he was significantly alongside, personally. He was about half a car's length alongside Vrolik there, and Vrolik should have afforded him a little bit more space going into that corner. I think that's an avoidable bit of contact there.
Yeah, I think it probably was avoidable, to be honest, and both drivers need to kind of have a look and think, you know, what could we have done differently? Well, one of the things would have been not actually hitting each other. That might have been an ideal scenario as we're going on to lap 3 of this 5-lap sprint race. Before we round this out for the evening, Johnson closing in on Potts. It's got a second gap at the moment. Zwemstra's tucked up right behind Johnson here as well. Is Zwemstra going to be looking at making that move down into turn 1? He's not this time around. Johnson's just got to work onto the back of Potts here. He's doing it bit by bit here, Kelsey, again as well. You know, he's only got 2.5 laps, but I think, to be honest, Potts is in his sights.
Yeah, he is. Potts only 6 tenths up the road, and then Lee Aberdeen only a second up the road from Potts. So if he can get himself past Potts on this lap, I think he'll have a good chance at Lee Aberdeen for the next couple.
Yeah, I fully agree. I think so as well. So let's see if Johnson can manage it. What about Vrolik and also Rachel Jimenez battling away here currently at the moment. This is your battle for 5th and 6th here. And we'll see how this one will turn out. I've got a funny feeling Vrolik's just going to have the pace over Jimenez. Oh, Jimenez has made a mistake. That has put Vrolik through. And unfortunately for Rachel Jimenez is now down into 6th place here as well. So a tough one there for Jimenez. I don't really know. It's just simple mistakes, I think, that's causing the problem, isn't it? You know, that managing to get round turn 8 without an issue should have been probably straightforward, but it seemed to be made worse there as well. Maybe the lack of concentration, the I don't know, the preoccupation, whatever it is going on there in that car, and unfortunately it led to that error.
Yeah, I mean, once your concentration's dropped in the back, drops while you're behind the wheel of a car, it's a hard thing to get back, and mistakes can then start to snowball from there. You know, you make one mistake and then all of a sudden you find yourself making another one, and then those little ones then soon add up to a big one, and you might end up spinning perhaps. And then that's it just ruins your race completely. I've had that plenty of times. Like some people it's easier to hone in and focus. Other people it's perhaps not. I think I fall myself into the camp of those who can sometimes get distracted behind the wheel of a car, which doesn't always need to cut drama. As Johnson pulls to the inside, they're going side by side now, down towards turn 5 they go. That's Johnson's corner very easily, but his Pot's going to go back underneath him. He doesn't quite get the run he would like. He had Pot's car just there as he wanted to try and dive through, and so there goes Johnson into P2, and we still got plenty of racing left to go. And he's going to be setting his sights right onto Aberdeen, while Potts now has to look in his mirrors as Zwemstra's right behind him.
Yeah, he is. Kevin Zwemstra going to have a go at Potts here. You can feel it now. Zwemstra's not going to give this up. here as well, jumping on to the front right or front left, depending on which way you look at the car. You can see Zwemstra there is going to make the move. Is he going to take the other side? He is. There he is, side by side, currently in the moment running down into Canada corner. Zwemstra's on the right, Potts is on the left. Zwemstra's going to have that inside line. Through he goes, and now we've got an Alcantech 1, 2, 3 with Knox E Motorsports there with Jake Potts down into fourth. He's got time to come back at him though. He has got this long start finish straight here, Kelsey, as they're going on to the final lap.
Yeah, he does, and well, this is a familiar sight for us now, but already trying to break the toe is Zwemstra. Potts close. Is he going to be close enough to launch an attack as they come down the start-finish straight? He's going to be defensive. Goes Zwemstra around the outside. Is Potts going to go? Can he get the move done? Can he stick it all the way around? Yes, he does. Car number 41, but he's off the track, I think. He's got a little bit too deep, and that will afford Zwemstra the position. And now he's going to have to look for one more Alcantech car as Vrolik is going to be closing up on him.
There he is. This is Eric Leroy and Rachel Jimenez battling down in 6th and 7th. They're just getting on to the Marine sweep. You can see the front places aren't really getting close together here. Jimenez goes on the defensive. Keep it there, I would personally. Look at keeping that inside line if you can. I think Leroy might have enough though just to run around the outside. Eric Leroy on the left-hand side, Jimenez on the inside. Leroy goes very wide. Whoa, there's a Jake Potts spinner there. That's going to do Jimenez a world of good seeing Jake Potts there, but probably scared the life out of her at the same time, I think, because unfortunately for Jake Potts, this is what went on here for him, and I think he's just going to put too much power down. Yeah, try and hold it a go, and here comes Jimenez into that same corner, and there is Potts. Whoa! Not really sure which way Potts was going to go for Jimenez there, but done a great job managing to keep her out of the trouble there, Kelsey, because that could have been a lot worse for Rachel Jimenez.
It could have been, and she'd have been glad to perhaps see Potts facing the other way, but at least not in that instance. But she's going to fight more now with Leroy. They're coming all the way down, side by side they go through the Canada corner, I think that is, and then they're heading up through Thunder Valley and in towards turn 13. That's Leroy's corner, and he gets the position done ahead of Jimenez, who'll fight that as much as she can, but she'll finish ahead of Potts at least.
Yeah, Lee Aberdeen coming over the line. He has taken the victory, did what he needed to do, but for him, Johnson was sat in second place with Kevin Zwemstra in third. Rachel Jimenez finishes behind Eric Leroy, but in front of Vittorio Mayorga. So there we go, and Jake Potts will be the last one across the line. Let's bring you the results up from the feature. And you've got Lee Aberdeen in first place with Alex Johnson in second, Kevin Zwemstra third, and then Silas Craig Rolick in fourth, Eric Leroy fifth, Rachel Jimenez in sixth, and Arturo Mayorga seventh, Andre Zalander eighth, Jake Potts in ninth, Andy Miller 10th, and Mackenzie Roon in 11th there. Well, Lee Aberdeen did what he needed to do, but unfortunately for Lee Aberdeen, Alex Johnson also did what he needed to do and get into that second place. It's, very tough. It's Johnson's title as of now, I believe. And for Aberdeen, he went about his business. He went and did what he had to do in the sprint, but he didn't get the feature right, I think, Kelsey, there.
Yeah, it all came down to that contact that he had with Miller. I think that was what ruined it. That was what stopped him from being able to fight at the front in the feature. And even then, just looking at the lap times, Alex Johnson's about 3-4 tenths faster than Lee Aberdeen as it is. And that's not even including the other drivers out there on the track as well. So this was a track that very much suited Alex Johnson, was very much his track that he sort of dominated on, made it his own. And, well, he's come home with a P1 and a P2. That's not bad at all.
Yeah, absolutely there as well. We're going to wrap this up for today, guys. Don't forget, join us for the IGP Fun a little bit later on in the evening here as well. That should be another extraordinary race, as we have seen previously before. They are at Virginia, so join us for that one. But guys, that's going to wrap it up from myself and Kelsey Gill up here at the JPB Broadcasting booth. For now, take care, have a great week, and you never know, we might see you on the track sometime. Good night.